I wouldn't go longer than 3 days without feeling sick. There is something in me that just knew that this was not my truth. So that's what got me through it. I don't know what that is. It's the inner knowing. It's just the same inner knowing that when I had my spiritual awakening and all of a sudden I found astrology and was going to quit my jobs and do this and everyone thought I was crazy. I'm like, no, this is what I'm here for.
You're listening to the Almost 30 podcast, hosted by Krista Williams and Lindsey Simsick. Almost 30 started as a conversation about the transition from our 20s to our 30s. But then we realized life is full of transitions. So we expanded our mission.
We are an intuition-led, wellness-focused lifestyle podcast that promises to deliver authentic conversations, diverse points of view, and insights rooted in optimism, growth, and intention. The Almost 30 Nation community is a group of purposeful dreamers who are smart, passionate, and always seeking the full potential in every aspect of their lives.
At Almost 30, we're making magic together. We dream it,
and then we do it.
Thanks so much for tuning into the Almost 30 podcast.
Here we go.
Hi, guys.
What's everybody doing?
So glad you're here. Thank you.
I'm always like picturing people when they're listening.
A lot of people take walks.
Yeah, that's
I feel like they're always like tagging us when they're walking their dog.
We should do like a viral thing where everyone has to take like a
group walk.
A group walk at the same time.
Seriously.
That's a great idea, Linz. Yeah, we should write that down.
Yeah. She gets sponsored for that. They do, I think there was a mass meditation. I don't know if it was this year or last year.
In our group?
No, it was like during a certain astrological time.
Oh.
And I think they did it in LA. And,
that's cool.
And it's kind of like the concept to like raise consciousness by all meditating at the same time. But it was really beautiful. I should do something like that.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Or participate in something like that. What did they say? I heard this statistic the other day. Obviously, don't quote me on it. But it was about a city that implemented meditation and consciousness classes or programming in the schools and how much the crime rates went down.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fascinating.
Fascinating.
I know. I wonder which cultures do it regularly the most.
That's a good question.
I
don't know.
Probably Eastern cultures more so. But I just wonder like how much a part of it their process it is.
I mean, to like imagine little babies in their classroom meditating instead of, I guess, what would they replace it with? Just like, because recess was like it was a wild time. Like you could do, obviously there was like, what do they call them? Like, or people who like would watch the kids. Monitors or something like that. Yeah. But like, they were not really watching everybody. Like there's like a lot of shit that can go on at recess that could scar children for life. I think you're wondering why, and you didn't experience that.
I really
by your
did.
Face.
I know. I'm kind of like, what kind of things?
But I feel like kids the monitor can't hear what every kid is saying to each kid.
Sure.
So for them to be like, you're disgusting and ugly.
100%.
And then the other
forget things that people said.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like it's But to bring them all together to kind of meditate and ground down,
Anyways, so Lindsey and I had a mother weekend.
We had a mother weekend. It was kind of ironic.
Yeah,
actually.
It was random that your parents were here and my mom and her.
I was feeling you pretty strongly, and I didn't know like what was going on, but I was like, oh, just feeling you.
T-Dot. If you guys have listened for a while, you know about Top Dollar Tea. Top Dollar Tea is my mother, mi madre, and she is just quite a character. She's
still have yet to meet her.
She's such a character. She's so funny. Dude, she was like, it's so funny. Like when I was around her, I'm just like, it was like every second to think of something to talk about with me was like the death report. Like it just like, oh, did you hear about this person just passed away? And, oh, did you hear about this person? They have cancer. And, oh, did you hear about this person's father? They're really sick. I was like, literally, I counted. There was 5 deaths, 3 sicknesses, and 1 like person having a hard time having a kid.
What is the obsession with like the negative news of people? It's like this it's like the addiction to it's almost like a gossip feeling.
It is. It's gossipy and it's like misfortune updates. So I just said to her, I'm like, hey man, I've had enough with these updates because and it's interesting because a lot of them, I don't even really know them. I'm like, I know their name because maybe, we lived down the street from them in 1992, but I'm like, I don't know these people. So I like don't really need their death update. Mm-hmm. It was like, that was like the conversation topic the whole time was like the death updates, the sickness updates. The one time I was like, I think you're on the phone. She called and she said about someone being sick or who was that? She's like, someone's being sick. And I was like, I'm so sorry to hear that to her, even though like she doesn't really know that person. She's like, thank you. I was like,
thank you.
I was like, is that? And I was trying to think, I'm like, is that the goal here?
Yeah.
To get sympathy and pity, but it's not even for you.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
If my mom had a bumper sticker, it would be say attention by any means necessary. We should make that an acronym. ABAMN. Attention by any means necessary is her brand. Honestly. Wow. It's crazy. And she also talked so much about, dude, I was like dying laughing. Justin was literally shitting himself. He's like, I've heard about her colonoscopy at least 4 times.
Is she scared of it?
So when you're older, you have to get colonoscopies once a year. Yeah. I think once a year. And I honestly have heard about hers specifically at least 4 times. She's told me about it.
Wow.
And she's talked about it again when we were in San Diego. She's like, yeah, I had to get a colonoscopy. And then we're at lunch and she has her fiance, Phil. She had her fiance, Bill, at the table. And she's like, yeah, Bill got a colonoscopy recently. She's like, he got roto-rootered. And Justin literally was like, what the fuck? We were literally
roto-rooter.
He got roto-rooter.
Wow.
She's like, She's like, T did not just say roto-rooter about, and Bill's just sitting there like, do like a bump on a log.
Yeah. He's like, I guess I did.
Y'all keep it between us, but Bill's an interesting. Bill just said, dude, what is the deal with older dudes?
Update people on what's happening.
Yeah, so I guess you guys are the first to know. Surprise. Keep this between us, everyone. My mom got engaged. She's trying to steal my damn thunder on my potential engagement. Just kidding. But she got engaged. So
I'm not kidding. It's true.
I know, literally. So she told us at dinner. We were at dinner. And they've been dating 8 months. He moved in 8-9 months. He moved in after a month. And I'm trying not to think that he's dirty John.
Wow. I didn't think about that.
Dude, me and my sister are like, yo, what? Like, so my mom told me, which is random, that she told me first before my sister, because my sister lives in the same city as her. They're pretty close. And then I made my mom call my sister. I'm like, you have to call her right away because I want to talk about this. Like I want to, and I mean, my sister is like, whoa, I don't want a stepdad. And it's just interesting when you have parents that are divorced and they do get remarried, and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of people have been through this. I guess I just didn't think my mom was going to get remarried. Not that I'm not happy for her. I mean, dude, she's happier than she's been in a long time. Like, that's all that matters. And I will go to everything and I will be a big support and I will do whatever she wants, to support her and having the wedding of her dreams. But it's just like, I don't know this guy and just kind of creeps me out.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I don't get it. I don't get why. She's like, well, why aren't you guys engaged? Talking to Justin and I.
Oh.
Yeah, that's normal, right? We're just like, I was just like, I'm in no rush. Like I have, like, he's all I need. I have him and that's like all and I'm kind of trying to like passively aggressively say some shit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, literally, actually that's like the real is I'm glad you asked. Well, we don't see a rush really. We're like, we've got nothing but time.
The ring's within 20 feet of me.
Honestly. So
yeah, no, for sure.
And so we're doing a wedding this year. And it's going to be weird because then I have to see the rest of my family. Ugh.
Yeah.
Pukey puke. But dude, so the guy, keep this between us. again, almost 30 nation. He's just like an older dude that says weird shit. Like Justin, like honestly, I don't think Justin's ever said anything in a public setting that would ever make anyone has ever taken the wrong way. He is so socially aware, it actually annoys me. I'm like, you need to let loose. And me, I'm socially aware, but I'm definitely saying some shit that people like look sideways at. and sometimes I know it and sometimes I don't. But Phil would be like the first weird thing he said, we were waiting for our whale watching tour in the rain, which was actually like,
dude, I'm sorry, because whale watching can be fun as
it was
hell
whale watching in
the
rain, and it was pouring and everyone was getting seasick.
It's the worst.
And my mom's fiance got puked on the boat, which was tight.
Wow.
It was really memorable. And so we're sitting outside there and we're sitting against the wall, and my dad or Justin was saying something about Tim Tebow, like talking about sports, because it's easy. And Phil's like, I mean, yeah, have you seen Tim Tebow's girlfriend? She's like a Miss Universe or something. I'm like, oh, okay. How do you know that? Who knows who's Mrs. Universe anymore? I'm like, okay. So I'm like, okay, that's literally not that weird. And then he's like, and I know that, he goes, and she's drop dead gorgeous. I'm like, okay, I've heard dad say drop dead gorgeous before. That's not that weird. And then he's like, and Tim Tebow's saving it for marriage. I'm like, okay, here we go. And then he's like, and I don't think when he gets around her for too long that he's going to want to save it for marriage.
All right.
Justin almost bashed the back of his head against the wall. He was so like, holy mackerel. And Justin was between us because we were standing close to the wall because it was raining. So I had the opportunity to pull my head back and hide my head behind Justin's head and actually laugh, like puke. I was like, what just happened?
It's almost like with every line, he was like taking off a piece of clothing.
100%.
And you're like, no.
He's letting us know the real him. So that one was like the first. I'm like, okay, I'm kind of fine with that one. I'm not fine with it at actually all. I'm just kind of weirded out. And then he said, when we were hiking, he was like, LA's very different than Ohio. I'm like, oh, shit, dude. I'm like, yes. And he's like, people aren't as heavy, and a lot of the women here don't have their original parts.
Hi.
Okay.
It's just like women's bodies. Hello. Like just keeps talking about like women's bodies.
Keeps talking about women's bodies. I'm like, what's going on? And then, later he was like, oh yeah, young girls with tattoos, they're just drop dead gorgeous. And then they get these tattoos and, it just makes them. And I'm like, dude. And I literally said to his face, I'm like, dude, you're not their target demo, Bill. The girls aren't getting tattoos for you, dude. They don't care if you like their tattoos.
Anyone in that like generation who comments on what's happening in another
100.
generation, please stop.
Bye. Like,
please
hey,
stop.
Bill, they don't like your Crocs.
Times are changing and we're not going
Honestly,
after.
Take off your cargo shorts. And the last thing, sorry guys, keep it between us, was this thing that was the most gross. So my mom hosts golfers at her house through some program. I won't go into details, but it's these girls that travel around the world and they golf. And people for the LPGA don't get as much support and money as guys in the PGA Tour. So they need to find houses to be hosted at when they're on tour to save money. And my mom helps organize that with the LPGA. And my mom started talking about the program and he's like, oh, are you talking about the hot German girl? I'm like,
so he doesn't have kids. Because I'm like, hey, would you say that
100.
about your daughter?
And then he goes, I think it's the dads that want to have the girls stay at the house. I go, hey, man.
He's saying everything he thinks.
I go, hey, man, we know what you're thinking. And honestly, it's weird. I was like, dude, that's so weird. You're talking about like 20-year-olds.
That is so weird. And it's exactly what he's thinking. He's
100.
like saying that those dads are thinking it, but he's thinking it.
100.
Wow.
Dude, Top Dollar actually has hard hearing, and I think that she misses a lot of what he says.
Wow.
I'm laughing because I got a new dad. Dad. Hello, Dad.
Yeah,
literally.
You're going to be on the podcast.
Honestly, pervy dad, come be my dad. Fuck my life.
Dude, life is weird.
Life is weird, man.
Boundaries.
But life is very weird. Anyways, pray for me, y'all.
Wow.
I need to do a hashtag.
Wow.
Pray for me. I got a new dad.
Hey, anyone in Almost 30 Nation, hashtag Almost 30 Nation, that hashtag got a new dad.
Oh my God, dude, let's do that. I need to make a shirt that says, got a new dad.
Or got a new dad, question mark?
Yeah, literally. Got a new perv dad?
Ooh, I mean, you just
will I
gotta
ever be staying at home? No.
Never.
Will I ever step foot in my house again? No, probably not.
You just gotta laugh.
I just gotta laugh.
Because like,
protect myself.
Because if if you think about it too much, if any of us think about too much things in our families or life that are like a little bit hard to swallow, like I will get sad.
And dude, I was just thinking, this is what I think about with that too, is the repression, of the sexuality. And I told you that, like, how sexually repressed he probably is, where he can't, he's not able to like process that desire or those emotions or those feelings, or he hasn't expressed it or whatever that is. Like when you are satisfied or when you are confident, or I don't know what it is.
That's an interesting thing to think about.
Yeah.
Like how it comes out.
Yeah. And I think it is like the desire, the wanting, the yearning for closeness, for intimacy, for sexuality. It's just interesting because I know guys it's, for the people that do think that way and see a girl and think like, oh, she's hot. She's got different parts, whatever. And then a guy that just doesn't see that. It's like, what is it about the one that doesn't see that but sees the person as a whole? Mm-hmm. Are they more satisfied? Are they less in their root chakra? Are they more in all of their chakras? What's different about them where they're not seeing that and someone else is?
Yeah. Childhood, baby.
Who knows? It's just the way my dad is.
Love you, Bill.
Love you, Bill. Love you. Name's not Bill.
Oh, man. Yeah, both my parents were here as well because you got a new dad. So I'm going to call him your parent. No, it was a fine weekend. But before my mom came here, my mom and dad came here on that Friday. They came on Saturday. On that Friday, first I got a text message from Soul Cycle studio, the studio that I used to work at.
Oh yeah.
And it was my, former manager, sweetheart Peanut. And he's like, hey, we just got a call from this like girl and she's looking for you. And she said she's like a huge fan of the podcast and that you're supposed to do yoga together soon. And she needs to have your contact info. And I was like, and he can't legally, according to our policy, give it to her. So I guess she wanted my phone number. And so he just thought she was really weird, like acting really sketch. And she had not taken any of my classes. Like it was just very weird.
Wow, he checked. That's so smart.
Yeah.
That's so smart.
So like no more than...
And it's been 3 months.
Yeah. Like no more than 15, 20 minutes later, I get a call. And I answer. I'm like, hello? And this girl's like, is this Lindsey? And I was, a little aggressive. I was like, yes. And it's like dead air. She's like, hi, how are you? And I was like, who's this? And, she said her name. And I was like, okay. I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know who you are. And she's like, well, I know who you are. You were with... I was like, this is fun. Because I love when I have an opportunity to be an actress. Oh. So I was like, she's like, well, you were with my boyfriend Richard this past Sunday. Also, one of my life rules is to not date anyone named Richard. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yo.
So dramatically, I said, what?
Yo, literally.
I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about.
What if you're like, Richard and I are running away together?
I know. I mean, at one point I was like, should have said that to get her off my fucking back.
Bless though.
And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And she's like, Richard blank. And I was like, like literally trying to think, you know? And then I was like, okay. She's like, you teach Soul Cycle, right? And I was like, I did. No. I was like, I quit 3 months ago. Like, I was like, oh, like Richard, who used to ride with me at Soul Cycle. Like, I kind of named a few things about him. And she's like, like as if I'm like about to confess. Totally. I'm like, I remember him. And I also remember he moved to Arizona like a year ago. I haven't seen him in like a year and a half, truly. And she's like, well, he said that you went over to his place this past Sunday and that he went down on you and pulled down your sweaty Lululemon pants and like all this other detail. I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, one, that is disgusting. Yo, nobody wants to be in my sweaty
body love, but like
Lululemon pants.
Yo,
I wouldn't let anyone down there. What are you talking?
Yo, what kind of maniac?
Perv.
What kind of maniac perv is like ruining some chick's life with like, hi, check out this Instagram girl. I pulled.
Literally, he showed her apparently like a picture of me on the Soul Cycle. I don't even know if it's still up there. It's very weird. He's like, yeah, he showed me you online. She goes, she's like, I saw the text messages between you two. I was like, no, you didn't. Cause that's not me. I was like, clearly, girl.
Check the number.
He saved. She's like, well, I know that now because your number is too, you know, whatever. And I saw the number. It's not you. But I was like, and I just had a moment. I was like outside because I needed to go outside. I couldn't breathe. And I was like, hey, like woman to woman, like I feel really bad for you. And I'm like, I'm giving you a hug over the phone. I'm telling you, I swear on my mom's life, this is not me. She goes, well, I know your mom. I was like, oh, wow, this is about to get weird. She's like, I called your mom. I was like, wow. I was like, are you also behind me with a knife?
I know, honestly.
She had, like, that's how she found my number. So my mom is like truly sweetheart angel. And she called my mom at home, somehow found that. I don't know if it's online. I guess you can Google whatever and her number pops up. I need to like figure that out and tell my mom
the internet
to get that out. And my mom, I guess, was like, because she's like, yeah, like I ride with your daughter, and you know, I'm like, and I listen to the podcast, and she's like she's the best Soul Cycle instructor like in the world, and like went on. And my mom was like, what? But like, okay, like she didn't want to like.
She's like, what? She's not even that good.
Yeah, I know. She's like, okay. And my mom was asking her a lot of questions. And then she finally gave her my number, and like, I understand. You know what I mean? I was like, don't care. But my sweet mom, like, and I called my mom after and I told her, she's like, oh my God, I had a feeling. Like she knew it. I was like, it's okay, no worries.
So bad for that girl.
Dude.
Did you say anything to Rich?
No, hell no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Complicated.
No, it's more like, I don't know what he's capable of. I literally do not know what he's capable of.
He's torturing her.
Torturing purposely. Her. It sounds like he wants to just get rid of her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like push her away.
Yeah.
But doing so in a way that is so manipulative and crazy.
Yeah.
Like he should just be like, but you know, I don't know how she is in the situation. Like literally none of my business, but it became my business for 5 minutes. And I was like, this is the craziest thing. I really did want to text him and be like, keep my fucking name out of your goddamn mouth, you fucking pervert. Like, that's so nasty. She's like, yeah, he said you guys have been hanging out and like fucking. I was like, oh, I'm going to puke all over my phone.
I know.
Because he's like old.
He took her to the computer, was like, hey, I need to tell you something. And he's like on Google. He's like, Lindsey S. Soul Cycle. And he's like searching through Google images.
He's like, yeah, I sucked on that Lululemon pants.
It's like the one of you like riding the bike with like your hair blowing in the wind. He's like, that's what she does on my dick.
You know? Yeah. Oh, no.
Well, wow. Whatever. What an interesting thing to happen.
I'm sure it's just...
Bless.
Yeah.
Dude, and the thing is yo.
Because I didn't want to think she was crazy, by the way.
Of course not. I mean, that's hard,
we've all been there.
We've all been there.
In a way.
I'm trying to think if I've ever done that.
Nope. I have not.
Probably done it. I just can't think right now. I've definitely done something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That pause is so funny when they actually answer and you're like, oh. And you're like, now I have to do my script.
Yeah, now you're like, hello.
Honestly.
Hello, you slut.
Yeah, honestly. And because you have to like, you've been thinking for so long, you're like walking around, you're like, okay, I'm going to tell her she's a slut. And I'm going to say, hey, I know what you did. I got you. You know what I mean? You're trying to like go through everything.
Yeah, she finally turned and was like, I'm really glad I called you. I believe you.
Oh.
And I was like, okay.
Support.
Yeah. I was like, I'm glad you called too. Like, I wish the best.
Glad we could clear it up.
For you. And I'm going to go wash my Lululemons 8 times over because this is freaking me out.
200.
Anyways,
this week.
This week we have our dear new friend, Danielle Paige.
Oh, awesome. She's awesome.
She's so like...
I really feel very comfortable with her. I have a lot of fun with her. We've hung out a few times since. She's so sweet, so genuine. And she's just a good person. And super talented.
Super, super talented. What I didn't know about her, like upon first meeting her at the event that we went to, but that she at the time was going through, a lot of physical pain and illness. And probably we didn't know about it because she chooses not to identify herself as sick, which is something we talked about a little bit, which is an interesting thing. I think I kind of see both sides of that, but it was something I'd never really thought about before, to not say I have this or I am suffering with, like what do those thoughts create in the body, which was really interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was groundbreaking. I'm excited too to get just a little woo-woo and spiritual with y'all, with her. Lindsey and I get mini readings, which is really, really telling. So that was really fun. And then we talked just a lot about her story and what's going on astrologically this year.
Yeah, it was interesting to kind of, we've had our birth chart read before, but it was not different in the sense that like it was different information. It was like going a bit deeper and a step further in understanding like the transits and the houses. And it was fun to compare our charts and why, we are together here and doing this now and all of that. So highly recommend working with Danielle, for intuitive readings and reading your birth chart and finding your soul purpose. She does soul purpose sessions. So highly recommend. But thank you, Danielle, for coming on. And if this episode resonates with you, it means so much to us if you share it with friends, family, share it on your social media. So on Instagram, tag us, we'll repost. We love that. Make sure you tag Danielle as well. She is at I am Danielle Paige on Instagram. And if you haven't already, join our secret Facebook group. You can search Secret Almost 30 Podcast Group on Facebook. When we are there, there's over 10,000 of us chatting every day.
Hanging out. And we will be sharing some exciting things with you in the next few weeks. We're going through a massive rebrand. We have our tour dates coming up. So keep an eye out for those. And the ambassador program is happening. So look on Facebook for the Almost 30 group in your city. And you can join that to meet other conscious, amazing babes.
Yeah, it's the best. Thanks for listening. We love you. Enjoy this one. Anyway, we are so excited. We have Danielle Paige here. In the studio.
Lovely. She's looking fresh and fine.
Aw, thank you.
She's looking fresh and fine. We were just talking about 2018. We were kind of like recapping our years and everything that was going on and, how hopeful we are in 2019. And I know you had like a crazy year last year and you're feeling really good. And we were talking about too, she had some health issues that I love the way you put it as it was, things that your soul had to go through. It was learnings that you had promised in previous lives. And I'd love to just talk about, that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I went through a really intense period from fall of 2017 to all of 2018. And I was very, very sick. And one thing that I mentioned to both of you is that I was very clear in the beginning that I didn't want to say the diagnosis because I feel like the minute you say that, you become that vibration and it's very hard to heal from that. So I was very clear. That was just my intuition. I have respect for anyone that wants to share because obviously it helps other people, but that was just my guidance. And I knew that from the beginning that this wasn't who I was. This was a period I was going through. I went through this and, I'm still dealing with things on the tail end, but I'm so much better. But what I learned in this process was that my soul signed up for this. I had to learn about the mind, body, soul experience on a firsthand basis to really get it. And because I'm going to be helping a lot of people with their bodies even more. And so it was also upgrades, because when we are upgrading and getting new light codes and and for those who don't know what light codes are, it's just basically your energetic body is shifting and changing and you're able to hold more space. Our physical body gets affected. And so we always get sick when we're upgrading. And so it was a major, major upgrade for the stuff that I am going to be doing in the future and starting to do right now. So I knew that early on. And then I've been working with a medical intuitive who's been amazing. And she confirmed that. And so I don't really get stuck on what it's called, because that can really, get people stuck. And it, like I said, it keeps you in that vibration. So I just wanted to move through this because I know that I have a lot to do on this earth plane. I incarnated for a very specific reason and I'm here to help. And I knew that I can't stay in that space. So I needed to be there, be present. Like I was in bed most of 2018 off and on. And I had to be there, but then really appreciate the moments, learn from it and move forward. And so I'm doing so much better now.
Did it open? I've heard from friends and previous guests, like if they've been sick, it's kind of opened them up to spirit. And I know you already have that kind of open communication, but what was that like for you?
Yeah, so that's a good question. And what's interesting for me is when I turned 30, my Saturn return, that's when my awakening happened. So I was already open to it. And it's been this whole journey of 10 years now of dealing with this. So this took me to an even deeper level of, I've already surrendered. I've had many dark nights of the soul. I think any healer, anyone that's doing spiritual work has to go through that. So I've had that. So I'm thinking, well, how much deeper can it get? But what really happened is it brought me into my body in a different way of total surrender. Because, there was surrender when I was waking up to spirit. I didn't know what was going on, but I was still kind of in my head, trying to figure this out and trying to see. And then, my third eye is opening, or, I'm getting this intuition. But this brought me in my body in a different way. And so it actually brought me into my heart deeper. And that's something that I've had to learn again for really helping people heal with their body image, diseases, and so on and so forth. So it was a different kind of surrender, more between me and my heart and my higher self.
Wow. And so, right now when you're kind of feeling good and you're looking cute and, it's 2019, you like, I guess what I'm trying to get at is sometimes when we're over it kind of, we see it in such a beautiful, clear way. But when it's really dark and when you're really in it and when you're in one of those weeks where you haven't left bed, did you have a hard time finding faith? And what was your kind of thought process during that time?
Yeah, that's also a beautiful question. It's going to make me cry even thinking about it because it was a very hard experience. But here's the thing, and I'm very honest always. I share a lot on Instagram and Facebook. There is something in me that just knew that this was not my truth. So that's what got me through it. I don't know what that is. It's the inner knowing. It's just the same inner knowing that when I had my spiritual awakening and all of a sudden I found astrology and was going to quit my jobs and do this, and everyone thought I was crazy. I'm like, no, this is what I'm here for. And again, I made no money for years and I barely had clients, but I kept going. It's the same inner knowing. So it's your truth. So yes, it was very hard. And yes, there were many moments. My best friend was there for me constantly. She's in Australia, so we would FaceTime almost every day. And she just would support me as I'm, crying because I was in physical pain. She's incredible. Oh, she's the best ever. I was in such physical pain. And so, but what got me through it is this deep knowing that it was not who I am. And I don't know if everyone has that. I don't know because I can only speak for myself, but I just knew this wasn't who I was forever. And that got me through it. But it was hard. I mean, it was very hard because it was continually like I wouldn't go for a year and a half. I wouldn't go longer than 3 days without feeling sick.
Oh, wow.
So, but it became my norm almost. And I would still have to run a business. And also, you look fine on the outside. So people wouldn't see what was going on. But in the inside, it's like horrible. But so it was just that inner knowing and that trust. I don't know what it was, except it was my truth.
And we talked a little bit about some of the practices that you do now, like health-wise, that have really been helpful for you. What are some of those things?
Yeah. So right now I only eat organic. And I think that has been a major thing. that has helped me and heal me. So I'm at Air One every day. I have a membership. They know me. I'm there. Like I can never leave LA because
I know
the place is addicting. So I eat organic, not vegan, mainly vegan. I don't eat red meat and I barely eat chicken, but I have fish every once in a while. And I just did that because I'm listening to my body and it just feels good. So I clean eating. I had to change my diet in around last year, around like April. I went to a functional nutritionist. And so she cleaned a lot up. So for a long time, I was soy-free, dairy-free, grain-free. I mean, everything free and not nut free, almost sugar free. I mean, there was everything. And so it was so strict and people were like, that's crazy. But when food is medicine, food will either kill you or it will either heal you. So when you put stuff in your body and you physically feel it within 5 minutes, you know what you can do. So I did that. And I'm still eating organic and still eating healthy. I go to saunas, infrared sauna, because it's really important to sweat out all the virus. I do lymphatic massage and I do the brushing on myself. I get massages. And I also, for being real honest here, I go get colonics and I do enemas as well. And so the only disclaimer I have with that is I'm very open that I had an eating disorder when I was 21. So I'm very aware that can lead someone down the wrong path. I'm in an amazing place and that hasn't been an issue for many, many years. But I'm not doing that to lose weight. I'm doing that because I had toxins in me that needed to get out. So I just want anyone that's listening, I don't want you to run and do that to think that this is how you lose weight because it's very dangerous.
Right.
I do that under doctor's care because it's actually how you detox. Like the virus needs to if you don't take an antibiotic, virus needs to leave your body with sweat or, elimination.
Excrement.
Yeah.
Is it small question.
Yeah.
Is it a regular enema, coffee enema? Like what?
So I've never done the coffee one because I don't have caffeine and everything affects me. So I'm actually afraid. I don't know how it's going to affect me because I can't even drink soda or have green tea. So I do chamomile.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
It's adorable. Lovely. That's delicious. Where do you do it
it's not so lovely. So
in your bathroom, no?
I do one myself.
Well,
I've learned.
I haven't done it yet. I'm a little...
I could help you.
I need a few hours. I want to look at it. I want to hang it up and then I want to look at it for an hour. Yeah. And then I want to talk to my butthole.
Yeah, it's a process. You really get to know yourself on every level. So I do that. And I also go to Serious Boss sometimes. They do enemas there.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. So, okay.
I'm like, let's lay it all out.
Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate we appreciate that. And I know it'll help a lot of people. Yeah. And we've never really discussed not identifying yourself with, a disease or a sickness. So I think that's really helpful. So in terms of your work in the spiritual world, in astrology and beyond, that I'd love to talk about when that started, how that started and why that started.
Oh my gosh. So it's an amazing story, that I had no idea this is what I was moving into. So before 30, every job I ever had, I didn't like. And I thought it was me and I was miserable. And I mean, not miserable, but when you're at a job and you're just like, somebody shoot me, right?
Yes.
Just need to leave here. So my background is in interior architecture. I went to grad school for 4.5 years and I did that. And I was working at an architecture firm.
Wow.
In Boston. I was living there.
Wow.
And it was amazing.
Different?
Totally different.
I went to school there, so I know.
Yeah?
Wow.
Where'd you go?
I went to BC.
Oh, nice. I was at Suffolk. They have an art program at Suffolk University.
Great.
Yeah.
Sounds prestigious.
I know, right?
Yeah. Where is Suffolk downtown?
Yeah, it's they have one on Beacon Hill, and then there's also Arlington, I think it is. Yeah. I haven't thought about that in 10 years.
That's weird, I know.
So I was doing that and working at really an amazing architecture firm that people would have loved to get in, but I wasn't happy. And I just knew that there was something more, but I had no clue what that was. And I think that's really important to share with people because people are in the same spot. I'm like, I didn't come here to do this. And I was doing blueprints and literally drawing urinals from hospitals all day long and zooming in. I was like, somebody shoot me.
You're like, I'm going to put a gold tassel on this one.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, I'm literally zooming in and doing cross sections of urinals. I'm like this,
That's that shit where you're like, yeah, I work at an architecture firm. People are like, cool.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do you do all day? That's like the real question is like, what do you do all day?
Wow.
I was measuring urinals and talking to the engineering department for the HVAC.
He's
And I'm
like, but what if my dick is big? I'm sure like working with men, they just have all these. Yeah.
I was like, we have the extra large section to the left, please. Yeah. So I was doing that and it was miserable. And then this is the incredible story, which I always said would go in a book, and it will be in my book one day, which is amazing. So I was living with someone in Boston. We went to Paris together and it was my 30th birthday. And we get to Paris and he breaks up with me on my 30th birthday in Paris.
Okay.
As you do.
Right. And I literally was
That
like,
takes a lot of effort.
I said, couldn't you have either done this before or after? I mean, I said, people are getting engaged around us, literally at the Eiffel Tower. And I said, and we're breaking up. And I mean, this is no joke.
What
did he say?
Yeah.
He was, honestly, part of the reason is they had communication problems, right? But so I'm like, could you have told me this sooner, right? So he was just like, he really couldn't say anything. And I'm like, okay, well, we're here together for 2 weeks, all of France.
Oh,
I'm not working. First of all, I was really happy. And I said, I'm not going to let you ruin my time. I said, I don't even actually know what's going on. I was in denial. And I said, so we're going to have fun. Because I'm like, I think you need to get over this. Literally, I was in denial. I'm like, I don't.
You still want to be
I will
with me.
convince you otherwise.
Right. And I was like, I don't actually know what's happening. And this is crazy.
Because you're like, you can't be this dumb.
Totally.
That's what it's
Totally.
really like. Not even
Must
him. It's
have
like,
been the
you can't be
caviar.
this
Right.
dumb.
I'm like, are you like PMSing? Like, what is going on? It doesn't even make sense. So, we were there for 2 weeks. Anyways, we come back and we break up and I was living with him. So I had to move out. So in that moment, this was really interesting. I went on a walk and I got this download, but at the time I didn't really know it was a download. I was always very intuitive, but like not really consciously aware of it. Right. So I got this download that I was told you need to move back to California. That's obviously where I'm from. And I was like, okay. So I went back. I mean, there was a little detour to New York, but that's not important. Anyways, I went for a couple of months, tried to live it up, but I was like crying every day. So I'm like, this shit's not.
As you do.
Right. So I'm like, this is not working.
That is New York.
Yeah,
Totally.
Every day I see someone crying.
Right.
It's kind of like part for the course.
Hey, girl. Yeah,
And I'm like,
literally.
who's trying to like get a design job when the economy tanked, just out of a breakup, sleeping on couches in New York. I'm like, no, I got to go home. So I was there for like a couple months, 2 months or something. Anyways, I came back to California and came back to move in with my parents, who I haven't lived with since I was 18. So I'm 30 at this point. So first of all, thank God that they were there for me and I had a place to go. But the other turn of events is this was in what was it like 2009 when the economy tanked? I can't even remember. It's like all a big blur. When the economy really crashed. So there were absolutely no design jobs. All my friends that were architects, designers, everyone was getting fired, moving home. I couldn't find a job. So I was interning, actually. I interned with Kelly Wersler because I love her and I wanted to work for her. But here I have a master's degree and I'm interning for free, just so I can get in. But then she's laying everyone off.
That's okay.
She's laying everyone off because the economy was horrible. So I'm working for free, driving from the Valley to West Hollywood for free, right? But this is when things started shifting. So I was at home and I started waking up and having these dreams that were super intense. And I would wake up and I would actually be crying and I would feel it. And it would take me a little bit of time to actually kind of shake the dream. And I'm like, well, this is really weird because I haven't had dreams this intense. So that kept happening and happening. And then I started getting information in dreams. And all of a sudden I'd be going about my day. And like I would see the same pattern. Like if I'm at the architecture firm, I would see the same fabric pattern that I saw in my dream. Or something would happen. Like I would hear someone say something that was in my dream. And I'm like, okay, whoa, like this is getting trippy. So you have to understand this is 10 years ago where it's not like Instagram or Facebook and everyone's so open and everyone's going to be saging people. This is like, what is happening? I had nobody to go to. I didn't know. And all the people that were open to this stuff that I could find were I didn't resonate with them. It was kind of freaky to me, So I'm like, I don't actually know what's happening. And then I started, this is the best part. I started waking up in the middle of the night and seeing spirits. So actually seeing spirits as if I'm looking at you, but they were like translucent or transparent. I don't know the word, but they were like white. So I'm like, that scared the
Were you
crap out of
actually
me.
awake or in a dream?
I would wake up.
Okay.
And I would lose my shit
What were they
because I'm
doing?
like, just looking at me or just kind of floating.
Totally.
It's just
As
like
they do.
Yeah.
Right.
And typical spirit floating around.
You're like, can you close the blinds
I'm like,
while you're up?
I freaked out. So I was not calm about it because I've never seen anything like this. So
Wow.
I think you hear like a lot of mediums and stuff. They kind of grew up and they knew the stuff. I'm telling you, I wasn't. Like, I was intuitive and just kind of like a sixth sense, but it stopped there. So that scared me so bad that I didn't sleep with the lights off for 2 weeks because I actually was terrified. And then what happened is I started getting, in hindsight, I could see this, but I didn't really know at the time. I started getting information and I was like, it was like I had a clear connection to spirit and they were showing me to meditate. And I'm like, I've never meditated before. So I would just sit down and I'm like, what am I doing? Right. But I would just listen and I would actually get into this beautiful deep state. And I started learning that there's more beyond the physical realm. Like that was my first thing that, okay, this life that we think, this is not actually reality. So there's more. And so that was a huge wake up call of, wow, there's something here. And so then I started loving this. And the funny part is I was actually really scared. I was going to tell my parents that I thought there was something wrong with me because here I am living in their house now, all of a sudden having like an identity crisis. I thought seeing spirits and I thought I was going crazy. But then I realized that, and again, I always apologize for saying this, but you have to understand this was my process. I don't mean to call anyone crazy, but if someone is legitimately not like sane, they're not going to have the hindsight to be like, oh my God, I'm acting crazy, or I feel like I'm crazy. So I said, wait a minute, I'm not actually crazy because I wouldn't think that if I was doing something. So I said, the fact that I have this much consciousness makes me see, okay, I'm actually just seeing into other dimensions. So that was the turning point of like, there is something here. So then it started my awakening. This was at 30. And then I, started literally seeing stuff in other realms. And, when I opened up, my psychic abilities were so strong, full force. They've definitely pulled back since then, but it was like Pandora's box open. So it was like, I could just look at you and kind of know everything that you've been through in your entire life. It's not like that now. So now I'm kind of moving back into that direction of integrating it back in because it was just like a flash flood that opened.
One of the best things you can do for your health is brush your teeth regularly and properly. Oral health is so underrated and most of us aren't brushing properly. Quip is our go-to. It is a better electric toothbrush created by dentists and designers. It's real chic, but it's making brushing your teeth more simple, affordable, and honestly, enjoyable. So Quip has a 2-minute timer, and every 30 seconds, it pulses to remind you when to switch sides. So it's helping you really get a full and even clean. And did you know that 90% of us don't brush for a full 2 minutes or don't clean evenly? Oh, so let's get on it. This is something, it could be a no-brainer with a product like Quip, which honestly is so great because it also comes with a mount for your mirror or anywhere you want to put it. It declutters your sink and cabinet area, making traveling super easy, and no clunky charger. That was like my number one thing with electric toothbrushes. I was like, this is so annoying. No clunky charger, and it runs for 3 months on one charge. And then the brush heads are automatically delivered on a dentist recommended schedule every 3 months for just $5. I love it because I usually have a toothbrush for way too long and then the bristles are old and worn out and ineffective. And here's the thing, normally with a manual toothbrush, I would be brushing way too hard and my gums were like, ow. So this toothbrush is super, super effective, gentle, but effective. And I just love it so much. Dentists do too, which I also am like, I need the American Dental Association to approve this, which they do. So if you'd like to try Quip, you can go to getquip.com/almost30 right now and you get your first refill pack for free with a Quip electric toothbrush. And this starts at like $25. So get your first refill pack for free when you go to getquip.com/almost30 and purchase a Quip electric toothbrush. After several months of proper supplementation with digestive enzymes and probiotics, I have really seen and felt a difference in my digestion, in my skin. I'm feeling awesome, lots of energy. regular. And it is thanks to the digestive enzymes, probiotics, and other products at Silver Fern brand. Honestly, I did not know that most probiotics on the market are incapable of restoring a healthy gut microbiome because they don't survive past the stomach to arrive alive in the intestinal tract. So that is the secret. But Silver Fern, their ultimate probiotic, is one of the few probiotics on the market that meet all of the important criteria. So if you're suffering from, Crohn's, Candida, IBS, bloating, constipation, leaky gut, energy levels are all over the place, anything like that, you might need to focus on your microbiome, which is your second brain, if not your brain, to be honest. And we are just obsessed with learning more and more about this. And Silver Fern brand and our friend Charity Lighton at the helm of this brand has helped us to understand this. So if you haven't listened to her episodes, please do. But Silver Fern brand is our go-to for digestive enzymes, which I'm taking during meals and then really in between meals as well, and probiotics before meals. So I'm really loving that. And then, of course, the Endurance Energy, which I love. It's what I take before a workout. It's my go-to. It doesn't give me any jitters. It's lasting energy without the crash, and it tastes delicious. It has K27, D-ribose, and alpha GPC. So I'm obsessed with that blend. And they also have plant-based vegan proteins, which we're loving on the road. So go to silverfernbrand.com, use our code almost30 for 20% off. That's silverfernbrand.com. Use our code almost30 for 20% off.
So that's been my journey over time and working with healers and clearing. And I basically had to clear out. So my early 30s were spent from like 30 to 35, 36 were literally spent healing myself, learning astrology, which I'll tell you that part in a moment, clearing out old behavioral patterns, basically shedding the old Danielle. And it was painful. So when I had that upgrade just last year, I thought I was done with like the intensity that I went through, but my soul is climbing, right? I don't know. I signed up for a big thing. So it's constantly about moving back and peeling back the layers and getting to your true authentic self. So my 30s were busy with like building a business, understanding what I was doing, learning the online world, learning astrology, healing myself and clearing. So now that I'm 40, I honestly feel like my life is just starting. So I feel amazing because of that.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
What were some of the old behavioral patterns that you had to work through to get rid of?
I think just it's really connected to our ego. Like we all have ego, and obviously I still do. I'm definitely not perfect, and I don't want to ever even come off or pretend like I am. So I'm constantly still working on myself, but it's just our thought patterns. So just even shifting that there is something out there besides the physical realm, shifting that, I had a lot of heartbreak through life with relationships. There was a lot of lessons I've had to learn. So getting out of the old patterns of, and learning that I'm worthy. When in my early 30s, it was real hard because, lots of breakups and lots of pain and wondering, am I pretty enough? Am I this enough? Right. And so now I don't even feel that at all, but that was my 20s and my 30s. So it's just shifting everything of just who the old Danielle was to get into the truth of who Danielle is.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned a couple of times that, you signed up for. So I'd love to have you explain that to our audience, what that means.
Yeah. So we all, before we incarnate, best way to describe this is we have a soul contract. And so that's why I love astrology too, because it talks a lot about what your purpose is, what you're here for. And we have many lessons and things that we came for. And since I was very young, I always knew I was here to do something big, but I never knew what that was because I can't sing. I'm not a dancer. I'm not like a painter. There was nothing that I really excelled at because my opening didn't happen until 30, right? So almost 30, love that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an amazing name. So I always wondered what that was, but I knew that I was here for something big. And so our soul signs up we have a contract. So yes, we have tons of free will because I could decide how I want to navigate, but we all have missions. We all have stuff that we're here for. And I know that I'm here to help raise the consciousness of the world and help awaken people to their truth and their soul. And so I chose to do that through astrology. And, I'm working on other things, like working on mediumship, working on medical intuition. These things are coming in now, and I haven't been able to force them. So I would never advertise that I'm those things because I'm learning those things right now. So, but we all have many gifts. It's just a matter of time when it opens.
Yeah. What was your journey into astrology? How did you find it?
So I was, again, everything is meant to be. So in that time when there were no design jobs and I was working with Kelly Worsler, I was also working part-time at a property management company to get money. And I'm sorry, but don't mean to offend anyone, but property management is a horrendous job because basically they're only coming in to yell at you if there's something wrong in the condo, in the building. And so where I was working, it was like really like the people were just not nice. It was like low vibration. So here I am, an empath, not knowing, working with people who literally come in. We had to have security in front. People would throw things at me and scream at me. And I'm not, afraid to say something, but I'm at a job and I'm not going to but it was also emotionally taxing, So anyways, I was supposed to be there because the IT guy, he would come in as a consultant. We became friends. We went out to dinner one day and he could tell, he told me earlier on that when he first saw me, he knew that there was like connection from past life, like not a romantic, but like he knew that we were supposed to meet. And so he was into all this stuff like astrology and energy. And I was just opening up to it. And so we went out to dinner one night and he said, "Do you want me to read your chart?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what is that?" Right. And I have no idea. And he's like, "Oh, okay." So I gave him my birth information. He pulls up my chart and he read my chart. And I'm like, "This is amazing that you know this much about me without like personally, like private stuff without really knowing me." And so that night I was like, "This is really cool," because I've always loved psychology. And so I went home that night and I basically went on the internet and I Googled everything I could about astrology and I didn't stop until the sun came up. And then from that moment on, I basically taught myself astrology. And then afterwards, I started taking classes with teachers. And the thing is, I was never like that good of a student in school. Like it was fine, whatever, but I wasn't like in the honors program. And I mean, the SATs, forget about it. I think I got points to write my name because my mind just doesn't even work like that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh God, this is a problem. So, but this was so easy for me. And astrology is complex, but it's a language of the stars and it's a language of archetypes. And I basically taught myself because my soul has done this so many times before. It was just like so easy. So within a couple years, I was then doing it. I quit my old jobs and I was doing this professionally. And I mean, I'm still learning. I still take classes and I'll be learning till I'm 100 because that's astrology. So I'm always reading, always listening to podcasts, always working with teachers, always just going deeper. But astrology, it was so easy for me because my soul has just done this. It was when I found it, or when it found me, it clicked and it was like, this is what I'm here for. And so now I use this as a tool to help people understand their purpose, what they're here for, their behavioral patterns. And then with it, psychic information comes through and we just go with it. So,
wow.
Yeah.
I feel like full moons are so hot right now. Like everyone's talking about full moon and the rituals and everything like that. Is the ritual that you do for the full moon specific to the type of full moon based on the month of the year, or tell me about full moons, their rituals and like the differences between them?
Yeah, absolutely. So full moons are really powerful because they're a time when the sun is opposing the moon and the energy is heightened. So if you think about it, people feel like they're going crazy. They're losing their mind. They're feeling like a lunatic. Lunatic comes from the word la luna, which is the moon, right? So the moon rules your emotions. So when it's full, it's at its height. So it's like our glass is full of water and we're just pouring open. So it is actually one of the most sacred times to do rituals because the energy is so heightened and so powerful and we're so connected. So I actually do, I've been doing this for about 3.5, maybe 4 years now, full moon virtual circles online. So every month. And I do them around the specific full moon. So there's always a theme with the moon. And so we talk about that and I do healing energy based on the theme that it's going for. So it's really important around the full moon to, I use it as an opportunity because we're all busy. We're all busy, every single one of us. And as much as we want to say, okay, I sit there and I meditate and I connect back to myself. I mean, we don't. We're really busy. Life happens. So I do these as a ritual because these women know, and it's like the same people over and over again. They come back, and also some men are doing it too now. But they come back and they have an hour where you put everything away and you're just listening, and I'm guiding them and connecting them. So it's really powerful. And it's a really beautiful time for manifestation of just allowing energy. One thing I have to say, a lot of people during full moons, they say to let go. You have to let go, but it's not really about a letting go. That's more the dark moon, balsamic moon. Full moon is almost like everything just comes to a head. So you're just sitting there, and it's almost like you allow instead of let go. You allow the energy to be what it is, and then you work from that space. So it's almost like you're in your power, and it's a really, really beautiful place.
Wow. And the types of so there's like Leo full moon or like specific types of full moons. What do those mean?
Yeah, there's all different. Every month there's a new moon based on the opposite sign of where the sun is currently. So like we just had the Leo full moon, and that was all about heart opening. So I did a theme on healing your heart and helping people go in and really healing the pain in their hearts.
Wow.
What about, not to go back too far, but in relation to healing the heart, what about that relationship that you had and he broke up with you quite suddenly? What about like being in that and then the opening up was significant to you? And I can imagine there are maybe some, women out there who might be in or out of a relationship and feeling blocked or super open, whatever it is, just kind of correlating that energy with another person and then your connection to higher purpose. That is such a long-winded way of just wanting to know more about kind of that time and how it opened you up.
Well, it's really funny because at the time of the breakup, I obviously didn't know about astrology. So after I learned it, I went back and I put the transits, which are the planets in the sky, and I put those against my birth chart because I wanted to see the time. And so I now know what was going on in hindsight because I can see everything. So that breakup was actually supposed to happen because it was setting me on the trajectory of my life. Now, did it need to happen that way? No, because that's free will, right? That was his choice. So it didn't need to happen that way, but we needed to break up because now, we are not, like, I'm a completely different person. It would have never worked. Oh, God, help me. Right. Not saying anything bad about him, but we're just two different people. So it had to have happened. And that what started my journey. So here's the thing that I want to tell, because there's other women out there. I was 30 years old after we broke up. I was trying to get us back together. I was working I'm a Taurus, I'm dedicated. I was working real hard on getting first of all, that's way too masculine and no woman should be begging a man. But I'm going to tell you that I was, and I was really trying to get us back together because I was so in love, right? I was a completely different person. But first of all, don't ever beg. That's the first lesson. Like, really have self-respect. Don't ever beg. I would never, ever do that right now. But I did that, and I want to be open because, again, not perfect. And we've all done that. And it's important to see that, this happens, but also that it was supposed to happen. Like, it was part of my journey. It was part of the process. When I saw the transits happening, like, I don't know how else to say it. It was literally written in the stars that this breakup was shifting me in a different direction, So
what is a transit?
Oh, so transits are the planets in the sky. So right now, where if you talk about if Mercury is retrograde or where the moon is, the sun is, so those are all the planets. And then when you put them in your birth chart and you put them against the planets that you were born with, you can see cycles and timing of events that happen. So it's not about prediction, like saying, oh, you're definitely going to do this. It's more like a theme. And so what was interesting was Uranus, the planet of separation, revelation, and like shock and shaking things up, was sitting on top of my Venus. Okay. So that is one of the biggest indicators of a breakup. Little did I know, right? But it was, right? And then there was other stuff going on with my Saturn return and my awakening. So everything made sense. So if I would have understood astrology, I would have never also tried to get us back together, because you're basically like banging your head against the wall with something that is not supposed to be for your soul, for my path, because I needed to grow. And this was destined for me, this time to be back at my parents' house, to connect back with myself, to just come alive and learn who I was. So yeah, my early 30s were intense, let me tell you.
For someone that wants to do their chart on their own, where should they go? And then thinking about looking at it, it's like symbols and numbers and shapes and stuff. Like, what would you suggest that they do?
Yeah, so they can go to astro.com, is a free website. Also, my new website that's not out yet, but it will be soon. You're going to be able to pull up your birth chart on it. So that'll be great. But right now, you can go to astro.com. It's a little complex, but I actually sell. I don't mean to pitch this, but I do sell. It's called Astro Hack, to how to hack your
Oh, that's cool.
How to hack your astrology chart.
That's great.
And I show people step by step how to pull it up with astro.com. So I do that, and it's cheap. It's like $44.
Wow.
So so I show people how to do that. But also, it's symbols, and you have to learn. So right now I'm teaching my 4th astrology class, and I'll be teaching another one in the fall. But if people, just start Googling, you have to be careful about what you read, because there's a lot of information out there that is not accurate. But once you start understanding that every planet, every sign, it's all archetypes. So once you understand, like, what is the archetype of Leo? What is the archetype of Virgo or Pisces, right? Then you can apply it to, okay, this is what the sun in Virgo means, or the sun in Pisces means. So you have to start with the foundations and then really build upon there.
Yeah. I'd love to give our listeners a sense of, exactly what type of information you can get when you do pull up your birth chart and you either get a reading or try to do it yourself. So I know you've done our charts. So maybe selfishly wanting to dig into our charts, but I think people will just get a better sense of like what this experience is.
Yeah.
Okay. Who do I start with?
I have a quick question first before you go. What is the difference between Indian astrology? Or isn't there a different Vedic? What is that?
Yeah. So I don't study Vedic astrology, so I don't really know much about it, but it is different. It's based on, I believe, if I'm correct, I believe it's based on the stars, and ours is based on the season. So tropical Western zodiac is based on the season. So I don't study Vedic astrology. It's just different. I know that everyone would be a different sun sign. Like, it's pushed back, I think 20 something degrees. So I'm a Taurus, so I'd be an Aries sun, and everything would be pushed back. So I don't know. I can't say too much about it because I just haven't studied it, because my soul has done this. So I don't know, but it is
based
different.
On the seasons?
It's based on the seasons.
Oh,
how so?
Oh, that's a complicated question. Yeah. It's based, so Aries starts in the spring. Yep. That's the beginning of the zodiac, 0 degrees of Aries.
April-ish.
So it's based on,
okay.
Yeah. And so it's based on the seasons and the equinox and the solstices.
Okay.
Those are really like anchor points into time and space. So it gets complex.
Wow.
Good question.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do Lindsey first.
Okay. So is there anything specific you want to know about your chart, and you want me just to do my thing? And
do your thing.
Okay. So yes, in order to pull up a birth chart, you need to have your birth time, your date, and exact, I should say the exact time, the date, and the location. So you put that into astro.com, and it pulls up a chart. And then from there, it's layered and layered and layered. One thing I'll say before I start is that it takes a year to really fully understand your chart. I would say a year or more. And I'm still learning about things in my chart, because the minute you evolve your consciousness, you're seeing it in a different way. And so you start moving from the shadow to the higher octave of the energy. You become this dance, this rhythm of your soul. So this birth chart that we have, this is the exact moment that you took your first breath here on Earth. It's basically where all the stars and the constellations were aligned in energetic format. So it becomes imprinted into your soul, because at the end of the day, we're energy. We're energetic beings. So this is your map of your soul. And again, it shows you behavioral patterns. It shows you purpose. It's many, many things. What I focus on is soul astrology. So I love getting into people's soul and really seeing what they're here for, what makes them tick, how they work through some of their blocks and issues. And we just move through that. So what I love to do is start with the nodes. The nodes in the chart are really important. And it's actually, so when I was studying astrology, I got this intuitively that I need to do this, but I learned later on that they're part of Vedic astrology more. But intuitively, I learned that this is important. So now I focus on the nodes. The nodes, we have a south node and a north node, and they basically at this axis of your soul. So before I can look at your sun and your moon and the Venus and Mars and all those like fun things, I need to understand who you are on a soul level and where your soul came from. So the south node shows me your deeply ingrained behavioral patterns, who you are at the core, what is natural to you. I like to say that the south node is almost like having another sun sign, because we're actually so much like our south node that it becomes a part of us. We're growing into our sun sign. Okay. The idea is to understand our South Node because there's gifts there, which I'll talk about yours. But then the process of our soul's evolution is really to move towards our North Node. So the North Node is this journey that will happen throughout our entire life. So it's not like in 1 month you're going to get this, or in a year. We're constantly working on our North Node and going that direction. And this talks to me on the most simplistic level of one of the main reasons why your soul incarnated, what you're here to work on and what you're here to really learn and embody. That's the thing, is to really move towards this vibration and become this energy. And it's hard for all of us because it's totally opposite from what we're used to. Now, you have some interesting things in your chart because you have a bit of a dichotomy. You have like a dance going on. Okay. So just to start with, you have your South Node in Libra. Okay. But it's in the first house. Now, houses are areas of life, and the first house has the vibration of Aries, which is opposite of Libra. So I don't want to confuse anyone, but so we're already doing a dance. So you actually are pretty independent. However, there's this part of you with Libra. It's like very much fairness and equality, and I want things to be right, and I want to do what's good for my partner. You know, I actually don't even know, are you in a relationship or? Okay, so we'll talk about this.
That's me.
Yeah, no, I know you.
Yeah, she's my.
The partner's me.
She's my relationship.
Well, we got to talk about, because I saw some past life connections between you guys in the chart.
Obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I know you guys. Yeah, but it's like,
Hey, baby.
Yeah, honestly. Hello,
so
sweetie.
spot on. Yeah, you guys are back.
We're back. For better or worse, we're back.
We're back.
When we do ayahuasca, it's going to be insane.
They need to separate us.
I know.
They were going to have to, because I
Our
feel like
spirits are gonna-
your
Jesus
energies
Christ.
are going to.
You said Jesus Christ before I said sex.
I'm taking.
You knew. It's like you knew.
I'm wearing a chastity belt, baby.
Lock me up.
You might be like, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Like
I know.
Okay.
Okay, so there is a part of your energy. So here's the thing. The split is there's an independence to you that you want to like kind of do your own thing. And there's a privacy to you as well. And we'll get into that. But there's also this energy about being fair and being right and being balanced and like friendships and equality. And there's that vibration of like, okay, what works for you? And I just want this to be right and fair. Now, none of that stuff is bad. That's how you're wired. What's interesting for you is and should I just be?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
One of your lessons, one of your major things that your soul came for is relationships, because you have your North Node in the house of marriage and relationships. So you're learning how to be in an equal partnership. And so what's interesting is your North Node is in Aries. And so you're not only learning, again, how to maintain your independence, but how to have that independence, but in relationships and not lose yourself in that. So that's the balancing
Spot
act.
on.
She's a giver.
Yeah,
Spot
that's Libra.
on.
Libra
So-
is very much like, okay, I didn't want this, but like, it's okay. We'll do it for you, or like whatever's fair. Right. And so you're learning to be like, okay, I'm going to step into my power. That's North Node in Aries says, I am independent. I am powerful. I'm strong. I'm courageous. It's about my needs and my wants. However, we're still integrating that into a relationship. So that's good, because sometimes when I see people with a North Node Aries, they get afraid that they're going to be alone in this lifetime. And really, no one's supposed to be alone unless we're a monk on a hill. So that's just, but yours, North Node is in the house of relationships. So I know that's where you're moving towards. Now, if we want to go even deeper, the ruler of your North Node and the ruler, your chart ruler. So two heavy hitters, I say, in your chart are sitting in your 12th house with your sun sign. The 12th house is hidden. Okay. So first of all, really psychic, really in tune, really sensitive. It takes on, even though you're a Virgo, you take on a lot of Pisces energy. So you have a flavor of Pisces. So really like way more probably sensitive than you probably let people know. You feel things deeply, and there's also a privacy to you. Even though you do a lot of public stuff, there's this privacy, and this need to retreat is super strong. You're going to have to get this space, right? But the ruler of your North Node is in the 12th house. So when that happens, it's like we have to find a way to access this, because whatever in the 12th house, astrologers like to say it's the house of serve or suffer. And what they mean by that is it's very shadowy when you're in Pisces territory, which you know very well. Pisces is a slippery slope of, am I in the spiritual realm? Am I helping or am I saving? Am I giving you too much, this, shirt off my back, and it's going to, not help me? Or am I like, where are my boundaries? Right.
Yes.
So you have part of your mission is how do we get this energy out of your 12th house and use it for the highest good? So for you, you have to emotionally uplift people. There is the strongest need because your sun sign's there, because your chart ruler, and because your North Node ruler, it's all in the 12th house. It's all about you're here to emotionally support and uplift people. Now, that doesn't mean rescuing relationships and rescuing people that you're with, but it's like doing this, like these podcasts and everything that you're doing it's not just like, let's go on and talk. It's you're actually helping people emotionally connect to themselves because that is your mission. You're here in life to literally serve and connect with people in that way. And then when you're using that for the highest good, and it's all in Virgo, so it's about healing. And so for you, there's actually a connection between the physical and the emotional as well. So I don't know if you've explored that yet, but also we grow into our charts. So I might say something that hasn't really hit yet. And it might take 5 years. It might take 10 years.
What do you mean by that connection?
Because you're a Virgo, Virgo is all about healing with the body and like healing in this earth plane, but it's in your 12th house of emotional health. So there could be a big correlation. When I look at like some medical astrology in your chart, there's some stuff with your moon making a square to Mars. So I'm wondering if you have some health stuff with like stomach stuff, because usually Moon Mars is like a lot of stomach stuff. So there's stuff that you could be learning that's actually helping you become who you need to become. Right?
Wow. Yeah.
That was a lot. We just laid a lot on at once.
But I'm nodding hard. I mean, all of that is spot on. This product has been saving my ass, quite literally. And it's been taking away the shame in weird, awkward situations for me for a few years now. And I cannot tell enough people about it. Poo-Pourri. It's the best. It's all natural, made out of essential oils. It is the original before you go toilet spray. So easy. You just spray it on the surface of the toilet water before you go number 2. You go number 2, traps the smell, and you're good to go. It's the best. You know what I've been doing lately? And I swear to you, I actually did it yesterday at my yoga studio. I had like a travel poopery and I just left it in the bathroom. I was like, you know what? I'm doing my good service, leaving poopery in these public bathrooms. It's true. Poopery is perfect for overnight stays. When you're first dating someone and it's a little awkward when you have to poop, use it. It saves it. And then when you've been dating a while, keeping the romance alive, you know what I mean? They have small, discreet sizes, and I love that they are constantly innovating their formulas. One of their newest, Privy, is a higher end toilet spray. It's designer scents and decorative bottles, so it looks really beautiful on your toilet. And it comes in a set of 3, a starter kit, and it's available at poopourri.com's POOPOURRI, along with all of their other products. I just can't love this brand enough. And if you haven't listened to our episode with Susie Batiste, the founder, please listen to it now. She is incredible. She is alive as shit, as she says. So if you'd like to try Poo-Pourri, you can go to poopourri.com and use the code almost30 for 15% off. I would stock up and I would give it to all your friends. This is the product that they don't know they need, and it will change their life. Poo-Pourri, POOPOURRI.com, code almost30 for 15% off. Alert the media, Almost 30 Nation. There's a bra brand that is taking into account your breast size and shape. Didn't know shape was a thing, but Third Love is taking that into account and creating bras that are impeccably made, fit incredibly well, and feel so comfortable. They are the industry leader with 70 sizes, including their signature half sizes, which is a blessing. So many times I found myself in the dressing room like, oh God, like I'm not quite this size, I'm not quite that size. This takes care of it. And they also take care of that
fitting room debacle. I don't want to be in a fitting room. I don't want to go to the mall. So you can skip the trip. Find your fit in 60 seconds with Third Love's online fit finder. You order and then try it on at home. No more awkward fitting room experiences. Right now, I'm loving the Geo Lace Plunge Bra. It's great if you're wearing a deep V. It's super, super comfortable, lays nicely under even just a thin t-shirt. I love it. So many different styles for every body type. We love Third Love. So you can try Third Love for 15% off your first purchase when you go to thirdlove.com/almost30. So that's THIRD love.com/almost30 for 15% off.
Yeah. I think it's so interesting. The purpose is interesting and resonates. And also just the purpose within relationships is something that I've realized in the last few years. And I haven't been able to practice it yet, but I know so clearly that that is part of what I'm supposed to learn, because I spent a lot of time just being for the other and at the expense of my emotional and physical well-being. So that is.
And I would be shocked if you said you weren't doing that, because that's your South Node. So the good thing is you're not doing anything wrong. You're literally wired that way. So it's not like,
right.
I don't want people to beat themselves up. We always play out the shadow energy of the South Node. So it's learning what the higher expression is. So you actually have a really great way of like being a mediator, like bringing the peace, bringing the calm, like making sure everything is fair and balanced and right. Like that's actually one of your gifts. And so you're going to use it, whether you know it or not, it's there, because that's the higher expression of the energy. But we grow and we evolve into this energy. So like there's some stuff in my chart I'm just seeing now that I didn't get until years ago. But I'm like, okay, now I'm seeing how I express this differently and how I use this, because we're constantly evolving. In the chart, it's like a living, breathing entity with us. Wow. So it moves. And also for you, I know that you give. You have your Venus in the 12th house. So you are a giver for sure. When people have that there, you have to really make sure that you're able to receive. That's a big thing, like really receiving, because you could give. And there's sometimes, with relationships that you have to make sure that you're worthy of them, and you're not, cutting yourself short or being in like a relationship with someone that like doesn't, this is my girlfriend or this is my wife. Like you need to be brought to center stage, not like just someone's like behind the scenes.
Right.
Because there could be a lot of that with this.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was great.
She's got a lot going on in there. There's so many colors and...
Yeah, every chart's different. We all have different aspects. These are called aspects and squares.
It's like ours are kind of not the same, but flipped almost. Yeah. Like yours lives on the other.
I just don't have a lot happening.
No, you do.
I'm a dead person. I'm a dead person.
You're definitely.
Honestly.
Well, you are a Pisces, so you might be half alive.
I know, that's true.
No, you have a lot going on. And even if we don't see that many aspects, these are called T-squares. So there's a lot of pressure going towards this 12th house, which means when we flip it, you have to activate the 6th house. And 6th house is about day-to-day work, our body, our physical realm, being here, being present, really making things easier for people. You guys have some same things like that. So you have a lot in your 6th house, and hers is empty, but you're learning to bring this into this energy rather than it being just like behind the scenes. Wow. But you guys have a lot of similarities because you're obviously a Pisces as well, and you have a lot of Pisces energy. Okay. Also, I just want to tell you this, 4 months ago for you, your progressed moon moved into Leo. So basically, long story short, that could be a whole other episode. Progressed moon, we have a progressed moon. It changes signs every 2.5 years. So every 2.5 years, we go through this different flavor of maybe we're more introverted or more extroverted. So 4 months ago, it moved for you from Cancer. So you were probably the last 2.5 years more introverted. So 4 months, you probably felt a difference and a shift. So Leo is way more fun. Leo is more outgoing, more yang energy, more fire energy, and it wants to celebrate and express itself
That's
more.
So weird.
Cool.
Yeah. I know. I think I told you, I just want to celebrate more.
Yeah. She's been saying that a lot. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, you have to.
Get back to work.
No, progress moon.
Punches me.
Honestly, I'm like, we celebrate later, bitch.
Yeah, she's got to. Oh, and the reason why you're saying that is funny because your progressed moon is at 19 degrees of Capricorn, and Capricorn is all work now.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
That's me.
yeah.
When is it out?
So you have, it goes to about 30 degrees. So you have like 11 more, like 10, basically 10, 11 more months of it. And then it will shift into Aquarius where mine is right now. And that will be
What's that like?
That it's funny because I honestly, I just do what I want and I don't give a fuck what people think. Like that's just my energy and my personality. And Aquarius is like, I don't give a fuck what you think. So now it's even more of like,
fun.
I'm just doing whatever the fuck I want. Yeah. Like I just posted something really controversial about birth control on Instagram and I got all these things. And I was like, I actually had no reaction either way because I'm just relaying information from source. And so you can yell at me if you want or not, but this is what I got. So it is what it is.
Wow.
Don't care. That's interesting. That Capricorn energy. I'm feeling that shit.
Capricorn is all work.
Yeah.
It really wants to get things structured, business, how we implement systems, organize. So
Cash money.
Totally.
That's me right now.
I know that's how I was too. But it's like, it's good. You're going to organize a lot and figure shit out. Like that's what Capricorn does.
Good.
We're trying. That. It's so good. Yeah.
Boss lady here.
Yeah, that's why it's so
cracking
cool.
The whip.
Like our partnership because we are like different in those ways, but it works. Anyway,
yeah, absolutely. And we go through different periods. Okay. So for you,
11 months sounds good too. To like switch.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be good.
I might die before.
It happens. Yeah. Capricorn, when I was going through it, like I actually felt very like stiff a lot and very like void of emotion in some ways. And
100%.
Yeah. And I mean, you're
I say that all the time.
Pisces with a Scorpio moon. So it's different. It's like more stoic. And I was like, oh, I don't know because I'm a Cancer moon too, water moon too, like you. And so it was very stoic.
Yeah.
And I'm
it's
like,
very interesting.
It's a little uncomfortable.
Yeah. It just doesn't feel like, it feels so masculine. It's crazy.
Yes.
Like I'm just like, yo, this is what it is.
Yes.
This is business.
When I said when
Peace
someone
and love.
someone could have come to me with like that was like bleeding and I would have been like, what do you need? Like just really
Dude,
like
yo, I was
like,
stop crying.
I'm like, what's wrong? And I'm like, whoa, I'm a numb.
I was on a podcast that was like an advice podcast and I literally was like, she's got to go through it. Like I honestly was like weird. It was like not cool at all. I was so bad at advice. I was like, this is part of her path. Like she's like,
it's true.
Whatever.
Because Capricorn has wisdom in it from the journey.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Okay. So for you, let's look at your nodal system. And so what's interesting is, here we go. Your south node is in the second house and it's in Virgo. So let's talk about Virgo for a moment. Virgo is all about details, organization, really making sure everything is right, concise. So it takes on the same almost energy as that Capricorn. So it's like you're really in that like earth energy, produce material resources, money. Virgo wants to make sure there's a checklist, make sure everything is organized. And so that's okay. That's actually one of your gifts to be like, we got this done. We're moving on, right? We're very synchronized. We're in sync. We're using our logic and it makes sense. Where you're learning is really beautiful because your north node is in Pisces and it's conjunct, meaning touching your sun sign. So when anyone has their north node conjunct their sun, it's almost like you have a step up from the universe because all of us, like you don't know how to do your north node. I don't know how to do my north node, but you're already living that because your sun sign there. So the universe is like saying, here's a ladder for you. We're giving you a step in your journey. Okay. So with a north node in Pisces, you're supposed to surrender a lot of that logic, which might be hard while you're in a progressed moon phase right now. All about trust, faith, having compassion for yourself and for other people, and really believing in something before you get the facts. Because Virgo wants the facts, right? So you're really moving to this place of total surrender, total trust, and also really letting go and transformation because it's in the 8th house of other people's resources. It's like the psychological house, it's the Scorpio house, and you're a Scorpio moon. So for your journey in this lifetime is really deep in the emotional realm, in the inner world, to go deep into that. And with Pisces, it's like you're really learning about developing your psychic abilities to a whole new level, even more so than now. And really developing, again, this like trust and faith without seeing it and knowing that this is what I believe and I'm going to go for it. Whereas that Virgo is like, no, I need the facts. I need to make sure. And also you have a moon in Gemini. So yours is similar. Like you want a lot of facts too. So you're really moving to the space of really surrender and going deep into the realm that doesn't always exist on the physical plane, right? And that's shadowy, right? So, but Pisces, I mean, you're here to be on clouds. So enjoy this Capricorn progressed moon, because when it shifts out, it'll be a lot lighter for you. But right now, we're all where we are because we have work to do.
Yeah.
Right. But what's so interesting is that your South Node, so South Node is past life energy, is conjunct, meaning touching your sun sign. So already immediately, that's an indication of past life connection. And so that means that you were either the father or a male figure in her life. Now, I don't know what other people have told you. I know you've gone to a lot of psychics, but I actually have no idea what people have told you.
Cool.
But here's the thing. We have many past lives.
Never heard father before.
We've had many past lives.
You have some gaucho
You're my pervin dad.
I know it's like, sorry, but
dude, that's the truth.
This is the most recent one, because we have we're also existing in other dimensions, other planes, other realities. So there's so many things. So we don't have one past life. This is the connection that you've had. So you've been an authority figure in her life.
Yeah, that's what Braun said. He's like, you taught her a lot, right?
Yeah, I
Maybe
forget, but yeah.
But you're still helping each other, because when you have when you have two people that have a nodal connection, that's like, they always meet up in this lifetime. Not always, I mean, because there's a million connections, but usually because they're here to help each other on the journey. So you are, so you're helping her. I mean, you're both helping each other. You're helping her really embrace the Virgo energy because you've already done it.
Yeah.
Right. But you're also helping her because you've done that before. You know, it's just, it's the most beautiful soul connection, really. So I know you guys have been like, it's not going to be your last time either.
I know.
I mean, there's also a possibility of a love connection in the past because you have Venus connected.
Yeah.
So I can see that as well.
That's true.
So that's where it could have been like a father, a lover, an older figure. But
Wow. Sexy teacher. What about, so on here, do you see the rising? So you didn't really talk about the rising or the sun or the moon that much.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's talk about that. So you are a Leo rising, and rising sign is basically, it's how we present ourselves to people. So when they first meet us, they see our rising sign. It's really, think of it as like the vehicle we're driving throughout our life. So it's one, how we approach people and approach situations, but it's also as we get older, what we grow into and how we share our light. So you are a Leo rising, and Leo rising is about joy and playfulness, and just that's part of you, and like also wanting to be seen. However, your ruler of your rising sign is in the 8th house. So that's not a house where it's always in the spotlight. So there is a part of you that, even though Leo wants to be seen, there is a privacy and a secrecy to you as well, because you also have your moon at 29 degrees of Scorpio. So there is a lot of, really only going to let people in if I trust you and like really feel safe. And then you show them your true self. But so you're actually way more private than how you give out. And that's what me and my friend, the guy who introduced me to astrology, we used to call the rising sign the great fake out. So it's true, it's a part of us, but they might see my Sag rising and think I'm super outgoing, but then I'm a Cancer moon with a Taurus sun. I'm like, snooze fest, right? So like, I just want to be in my pajamas in my house half the time. If I'm not traveling the world, I'm like in my pajamas in my house. And I'm like, I'm really just kind of like chill and doing my thing. But I come off as like way more outgoing, and it's not a fake part. It is a part of me because I use that vessel to navigate. So you use this vessel to navigate, but the chart ruler really shows a lot about your energy. So you are very private. You have a lot of Scorpio energy in your chart. So when you were younger, it might have been like, if you hurt me, I'm going to cut you, because that's always shadow energy of Scorpio. I know Scorpios don't like it, and they want to kill me when I say that. So I apologize.
No, I don't care. I'm very shadow.
But no, but it's all
very scared of it.
I have a lot of Scorpio energy too. So it's like, it's all there. Yeah.
Emotional complexity.
Scorpios like to intimidate, like a way. And there's
damn, when I was little, that was me.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. When you were younger, like we're really in that energy because we don't even know how to use it yet.
Damn, so true.
Wow.
Yeah. And so now you're using
Really
it for
weird.
a higher expression.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I just thought it was like, because I was so insecure. I was a little
Yeah,
kid.
we all are.
Yeah, I think we all are for
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, I would definitely use it in that way.
Yep. And we do. And that's the beauty of astrology, is to really understand, okay, there's a lower octave and a higher octave of everything. How are we using it? How is it playing out? Because not every Scorpio is the same. Not every Pisces is the same. We have so many different components, and what are we here for?
Yeah. Anything with health for me?
Yeah, actually, you are just finishing up your Saturn return. And so your Saturn is in the 6th house of body. So I would say the past year, there might have been a lot on really being one in your body, being comfortable. You have lessons on, health and supplements and really what that means for me and how do I show up? Because you have so much in the spiritual realm, the fact that you have Saturn in your 6th house, really spirit, you agreed that you have to be present in your body to really ground your energy. So with Saturn going through your 6th house, there might be some stuff where it might feel like not full on chronic, but more like long term. So I'm curious if you even felt that for the past year, because Saturn going through the 6th house is I don't think we feel 100% great. I'm not saying that there's a disease or anything, but it's more chronic stuff. So it would be more long term. So it might not be feeling our greatest potential. So that's what I would say
feel that.
for going on. Also, you have Neptune is coming up to your sun sign. I can check the dates for you after because I have to check the book. When Neptune comes over, you're actually going to feel depleted. You might even start feeling some of the energy right now. That's where might be some things that happen. You might be more sensitive to foods, might have more allergies, but that energy is already starting. So I'd be curious to know how that's interacting with you, but I'll give you the exact dates of when that is. It'll be a big time frame for you because that's going to affect your health a lot, but it's not permanent.
Yeah.
But it's going
something to think about. Yeah.
Yep.
I guess people's introduction to astrology sometimes is compatibility and all that. Is that a thing?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. So
tell me.
I am very clear that any sign can be with any sign because we are more than our sun sign. So I don't do horoscopes. I don't do sun sign astrology. To me, this is a beautiful mystical tool and I treat it like that. And it's a gift. And so any sign can be with any sign because it depends on where your Venus is. It depends on your 7th house of relationships. It depends on your South Node. Depends on your moon. You have to look at what you need in a chart. And so the fact that can a Pisces be with Taurus or whatever? I mean, any sign could be with any sign because it's based on your whole entire chart. So anytime
do you have people ask hey, my boyfriend's chart is
I'm
this.
Sure.
Tell me what's up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great.
And you can see, and here's the thing I'll say. You can never see in a chart if two people will be together or not. So that's the misconception. But you can see how they interact because we have free will. I've met guys throughout the years, and obviously I'm always doing their charts, and I'll put their charts with mine. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the stuff that astrologers dream about. But yet I have no attraction to them and I don't feel anything. But do we have compatibility? Sure. But on a physical level, no, I'm not really feeling anything and it's not there. So it doesn't ever say, will you be with this person or not? That's our free will, but it shows how the interaction is going to be if you two are together.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
What are any predictions for 2019?
Anything maybe how our charts interact with almost 30?
Yeah.
Selfish.
Yeah. Well, there's actually a lot of, for both of you, I looked at the eclipse points. So we just had 2 eclipses and the eclipses are game changers and they shift stuff. So for both of you, it actually hit both connected to your angle of career. So there is the next 6 months, there is going to be some shifting with stuff. Doesn't mean people think it's negative and it's not like that, but that could be a huge change. You're implementing something new, you're moving to a new level. So there's a lot of stuff happening with that. And for you, Taurus is going to move in March. Uranus is going to move into Taurus for everyone. And that will be your 10th house of career. So there's going to be a lot of shifting going on. And you just had the eclipse point hit literally your angle of career. So I don't know if you guys were thinking, okay, maybe we need to implement something else. Maybe we need to think of a new way to do this. But there is some stuff for both of you for career stuff that will be changing.
And then, for 2019.
Yeah. So 2019 is an interesting year. Obviously, it depends on your birth chart because we're all going through different cycles. But there is a lot of Mars energy. And so Mars is action. And there's a lot of Saturn energy. And Saturn is about getting real. So this year, it's about really getting real and getting down to earth on what we need to do. But we have a lot of energy to move forward. Mars and Venus aren't retrograde at all this year. So that's really good moving forward. I have to say that March is going to be a little bit of a shit show because Mercury goes retrograde, which is not the end of the world. But Mercury is going retrograde in Pisces, Pisces is already in another realm, right? So it's hard sometimes on this earth plane because it's getting information from spirit, but it's getting everything because it has no boundaries. So when Mercury is going to go retrograde in Pisces, it's already going to be confusing. And then it's going to be doing something with Neptune, which rules Pisces. So I'm telling you, March.
It's going to be a wild ride anyways.
Wild ride in March. Where are you going to be?
Costa Rica.
Oh, doing ayahuasca?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, that's actually amazing.
Really?
Because there's so much Pisces energy. And what is Pisces? The other realm. So it's actually going to be, that's a great time.
It's going to be wild.
It's going to be so
I'm excited.
wild.
I'm too.
Are you going to Rhythmia?
Yeah.
Did you go?
Yeah. No, I just know about it. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm too scared to do ayahuasca. The things I see now without it. So I don't know if I can handle it.
That's the truth.
I'm actually scared. So I don't know if I can handle it right now.
What's a scary thing that you've seen lately?
I actually like seeing spirits, so it doesn't scare me too much. But I mean, it's always scary when you're sleeping and then you wake up and they're just staring at you. So
What do they want? Do you ask them?
no, I actually don't. So if I'm on with a client and sometimes people come through that have passed over, like I don't see them in front of me. I just get it. It's like an impression. And so that comes through. But when I actually see them, I actually don't get any information. So I've never gotten any information. I'm just like, why are you looking at me? It's like freaky. So that's sometimes scary,
Do you relay if someone comes through during a reading?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I will. Yeah.
Cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Last question. So I feel like I'm surprised I don't see ghosts and I don't want to. Is there a way that my spirit guides...
You probably will.
I know. That's the thing though.
You
Is
will.
there a way that I've managed to be like, no?
Could be that some of that South Node in Virgo, but the direction you're going towards, you will. And so our North Node, we step into like 30, 35, 40 and up. So you're definitely going that direction. But yeah, you definitely could have, blocked it. Not really, I don't like to use that word, but like subconsciously or like, no, I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
But you're so, the moon at 29 degrees of Scorpio is super psychic and you're a Pisces.
Yeah.
So that's like,
I've seen some shit, but I don't like see spirits regularly and I just don't really want to.
yeah, if you don't want to, then that's it because your subconscious already knows.
Yeah.
So already you set the
Good on all
intention
that.
and you don't have to, but it is something that you'll be going into. So just as you evolve and get older, I would say try to be more open to it because
I do want to see more angels.
Yeah, well then you could ask for that,
Yeah. I don't want to see like fucking grandpa
Yeah,
when I'm staying at the Ace Hotel or something.
Totally, I know.
You know what I mean? I'm good on all that.
I get woken up a lot. There's a lot of activity. And so, yeah, but
Don't
you
wake
can.
me up.
I know. Sometimes I'm like, I'd rather talk to people that are like passed over. It's fun. So
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. It's just kind of fun for me. But I get that it scares people, you know? But I'm still working on it. I wouldn't say that I'm a professional medium, but my soul is a medium. But Danielle's working on it. Does that make sense? So, and I just am very open about that.
Wow.
Last question from me. What can our listeners do to be more, and I feel like I've experienced this pretty intensely over just the last year, is kind of tapping into psychic abilities and downloads. And it's only just the beginning, but I do feel more connected. Yeah. But what can our listeners do to be more consciously aware of downloads that come in and messages, things like that?
Love that question. So, first of all, it's really about being in our own power and grounding. Because a lot of times, like I'll get messages and people are like asking me a million things. And when people do that, they're giving away their power. So you automatically don't trust yourself. So being in your power.
Can you repeat that? Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah.
She's drunk.
It's okay. Pass the bottle. One of the biggest things I would say about trusting your intuition is being in your power. And so a lot of people, like I said, ask me questions constantly. And when they do that, they're already not trusting themselves and giving their power away. So first of all, be in your power, ground your energy, send down a grounding cord from the base of your spine. That just like that visual just helps you be in and feel your body. Like, what does it feel like to be in your body? And already you're in your power. And know that we are all psychic beings. It's nothing magical because we're energy beings and it's just energy. Being psychic is just having the ability to tap into other energy. So we all have that. So also the more we go into our heart and we listen and we trust ourselves, that's one of the first things that Spirit showed me of how I was like, how do I do this? How do I do this? When I was 30 and but little did I know I was already doing it because then they showed me a heart and it took me about 8 years. I was just telling someone this. It took me about 8 years to really get what that means. And the more we're in our heart, this is our higher self. This is our truth. That's where everything comes from. So we actually manifest from here. We don't manifest just from our third eye. We could visualize it, but we got to bring it down into our heart.
Wow.
So also just listening, when I was waking up, everyone's like, well, how'd you know, or how'd you trust this path? I listened. I just listen. We all get information, but we don't listen. And then it's like, well, we go to someone else and they tell us and they're like, oh yeah, I was thinking that. We have to listen. And it's that subtle, quiet, it'll scream if you're in danger. Sure, it'll scream, but every day it's subtle. It almost feels like our thoughts. That's our highest self or even spirit guide, we have a million people around, things, people, whatever you want to call it, entities. But we have to just listen because we know we have everything. Like I'm not doing anything different. I'm just showing people the way back to their information. And our body, this is the biggest thing that I'll say if they want to improve their intuition, which is why I had to go through my health stuff. Our body carries innate wisdom. It has everything in us. So the more I went through this, the more I got into my body, then the more I can feel energy. So being actually grounded in our body instead of floating out, because a lot of times we float out of our body and we zone out, we do these things, Pisces does need to zone out a little bit because that's how you get information. So Pisces daydreams a lot, but that's actually okay as long as you're grounded. So you need to. But for the most part, we leave our bodies because we aren't happy at our job. We're sick of this, we're disconnected. So being in your heart and in your body, that's how you get your psychic information.
Wow.
Good one. Where can people connect with you, find you, all of the things?
So you can find me on Instagram at I am Danielle Paige, and it's Paige. And also right now my website is Healing Paige, but in a couple weeks, it's going to be Danielle Paige.
Great.
New website. I'm so super excited.
That's exciting.
It's great. Yeah.
Knew you.
Yeah.
Thank you. This was
so good.
Thank you so much. Great. This was one of the best. Like I love talking to you guys.
Are the best,
You're
aren't we?
No, seriously, you guys are so like it's just like I didn't even know we were starting in the beginning.
Idiots.
That was amazing.
We ambushed
Good job,
people.
daughter.
Good job, Dad.
Yeah. Big Dad. You call her Big Daddy from now on.
Right when you leave, I'm about to call her Big Daddy. All right. We love you guys so
Love
much.
you.
Check out Danielle, get a reading, and we will see you on the next one.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Ayo.
Heyo.
So good.
Thanks, Danielle. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Share this with your friends if they are interested in spirituality, wellness. We really appreciate when you guys do that. That is how we've grown. That is how we've been able to do things like the ambassador program to serve you guys better. You can follow the ambassador program and all of our ambassadors and community of Almost 30 Nation on Instagram at Almost 30 Nation. And we're at Almost 30 Podcast on Instagram.
Yes. Thank you so much for your support as always. Just a few things to remind you of. We are on tour. So we've kicked off our tour already in Austin, which was amazing. And we are continuing in May in Denver, London, and beyond that, visiting about 12 other cities. We're so excited to meet you all. So you can stay updated on our tour schedule at almost30podcast.com. And we're just really pumped to meet you all. These are workshops, events, experiences. We've sprinkled in some bigger live shows, which we're really excited about this year. And yeah, it's going to be a busy year.
It's going to be a busy year. We do it all for you. Can't wait to hug you.
Yeah. And also Your Podcast Pro. yourpodcastpro.com is your hub for all things podcasting. So whether you've already, launched your podcast and are looking to, brand and market and monetize, we have resources for you. Or whether you're looking to take your idea to iTunes, we are your space to do that. We are your support. We will hold your hand through it all. And we are relaunching, the courses in a way that is, kind of tailored to what you need. We do have our general course, but then also if you have already launched, we have something for you too.
Yes. Excited to do more with Your Podcast Pro in the next couple months because we know y'all want to start podcasting. We are here to support you.
Yeah, can't wait. All right, everyone. Have a great day. We love you and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.